Good news, everyone. I finally understand why people are addicted to trains. Welcome back to the factory here. We are going to be diving into another great day in the Industrial Revolution, and I am super excited about this one. I've been thinking about this all night, all day. I really want to get into the build today. Since we last left, we were working on this train network right here. And I did go ahead and tweak a few things offline, well, off the recording, but excited to share it because what I actually found out was that this little outlet depot that I've been using since I randomly made it right over here is actually exactly 2 chunks wide. So able to realign that with the chunk, replicate that across multiple times over, add a few extra stations, name them up here. We've got tin, copper, iron, steel, gold, and a couple to be determined based on what we need. If we need more than all the stuff that we're about to be making for copper, for steel, well, we've got an outlet for it. I actually think that it's possible we might even just use like half of the iron processing for steel processing, but we'll be flexible with that because at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing right up until the mixers where they put the steel together. I guess you do have to run the coke in the line, and that might be interfering with some aspects of it, but we'll figure it out. I did make some adjustments overall, like I've obviously routed power to all this stuff, put up some radars so we can see everything going on. I also did make some changes to the signals. I have the rail signals here for them to kind of go and get themselves situated in the holding station, but to go for chain signals here. And the reason for that is if these were rail signals, all they would do is just wait for the next rail signal, which was here, to see if there's an opening. They would say, okay, well, if there's no trains here, then one of these trains will just go down, first come, first serve. But that's not what we really want. We want for the trains to be holding until they get access to their preferred train station. So I believe what we accomplished here, you see all these blue lights on these chain signals, I believe this will go ahead and forward the signal, forward the information they need to determine if they can get to their train stop without any interference. And if they can, then they'll leave the holding station, which is the whole idea. So yeah, that's my hope with this. We'll actually see if that's how it works out. But yeah, if we can put like 2 trains per station, put 5 or 6 in holding, I think that would work out just great. And then I did end up adding in the coke unloading station here, which we can actually just go ahead and call up a train for. Since I don't actually plan on using this one anymore, we might end up demolishing this. Then I can go ahead and just take this out and instead make coke unload for his empty cargo station. And yeah, he'll just head right on up. And that coke is going to be used for a couple things. It's going to be used for steel. It's also going to be a refill station for each of these individual trains. So very excited about it all. I think there's a lot of potential for this just on the general design outline. But let's get into the actual nuts and bolts of what is going to be our central processing unit. Going to be processing a lot of material here. I would end up put up some fencing in between. Like I said, this is 2 chunks, so that's 64 blocks. If we take out the fencing, that's 62 to work with, and that's a lot of space to work with for these different things. It's still, you have to be intentional about how you plan to use it, but I'm going to basically break it down into 4 spaces. So if you think like 60 blocks divided by 4, that's obviously 15 blocks of space. And that's about what you have to work with here. Well, we're going to be going ahead and going for a build design that's going to be 2 parallel lines right here, and then about 5 over. So there should be 3, 4, 5 in between. And then another one at the same distance. And so what we're going to see here, I'm not going to connect this just yet because I'm worried that it might, we might have to redo this a few times, but let's go ahead and just map this out. This is going to be where the crushers start. Probably just to think about vertical spacing for like steel, for example, we might need a little bit more space to get the belts in alignment. So let's start it here. And I think that should work great. So right around here, can put it on there, do one here, bam, bam, and then rotate that around here. Actually, it's going to go the other way, right? These inserters make absolutely no sense. Let's go ahead and rotate these two, and then we'll do that. Perfect. I think this is going to be great. This is something I've been thinking about a lot, is future-proofing this as well. There's a few new technologies we're going to be getting soon, and I'll talk about that in a second. But for right now, we're just going to build out the crusher line out to the amount that we need. If I look at my factory plan, if I'm trying to go for 6 belts worth of copper ingots, which is, you know, with the 1.5 multiplier, 4 belts of incoming copper ore, we're just trying to use all the copper ore that comes in off of the, well, let's just say 2 belts, or 1 belt, right? Because, so yeah, we'll do 1.5 belts of the copper ingots, because that'll use up 1 belt of incoming copper ore, and that's going to give us the better numbers that we can actually work with here. We're just going to see, yeah, we need 48 crushers, 72 furnaces is what it says. Okay, we can work with that. So yeah, 48 crushers. We'll go ahead and make those. We should have everything we need to make that happen. We'll add some conveyor belts here after I copy this over, but we'll just go ahead and set it down the line right there. Seems good. A few more conveyor belts. And now this is going to be the better blueprint for us to just duplicate over and over. So every time we pop this down, we're going to be adding 4 machines in. And just keeping that in mind. I think I might need to add 1 conveyor belt to the bottom here, just to make sure the blueprint is correct. Let's try that one last time. Bam. Perfect. Still missing 1 right here. Perfect. Now we can replicate this with lots. And this is where the scaling of robots and blueprints and schematics really starts to add up, and we like what we see. We're going to be going some distance here. We're going to be building a lot of stuff. So we have to be kind of ready for it. This is looking good so far, though. Let's see. How many are we looking at right now? 36. Our goal is to get to 48. That's 12 more, so just hit this 3 more times and I should be good. Barring some horrible head math, which I'm sure will happen today, I think we're looking good. Crushing it with the crushers. So the copper ore goes down the middle. They put the crushed copper ore onto the outside, and we're looking good. The next step naturally would be just going ahead and saying, okay, we've done crushers, we've obviously drilled it, so we just need to go dig up the furnaces. And you'd be right about that, except I want to take a look at some future technologies. There's one called ore washing, which was described in the introductory paragraphs when we first, back in episode 1, just the reading material they gave us on how to work through this stuff. And if we look at that, we can actually put in water and crushed copper ore and actually get something called pure copper mineral. If we go for pure copper mineral smelting, we'll get 2 for 1 instead of 1.5 for 1. So let's go ahead and change this up. We're going to go for 2 full belts of copper ingots, and instead of crushed copper ore smelting, we're going to go for something we don't even have yet, which is pure copper ore smelting. And if we went for that route, we'd go ahead and do, there's 2 versions of this. We're mostly going to focus on the first one here. But if we wanted to set it up, we could actually have twice as much capacity, where we have twice as many washers, and that would allow us to set up a circuit network to do both versions. I mostly think that, based on the ratios I've seen so far, looking at it a little bit, I think that the primary ore washing is going to be perfectly fine, as long as we start it as early as now, but or as early as when we get the tech, obviously not now. But what we're looking at is 24 ore washing plants. So all that being said, I guess it's just important for me to basically space things out properly. The trick about ore washing, though, is it requires fluids. I played around with some different design ideas, and I think there's a good way to do fluids that will just have only an extra row here right above it. So we'll basically just have to plan it out where there's 4 for every assembler, I guess, would be the best probably replacement for right now, until we actually get ore washers. And we'll break it up a little bit. We'll give an extra few spaces here. But yeah, the idea would be if we can go ahead and replicate this a bunch of times, that's going to give us the best picture of what we're looking at. And of course, we're going to still need to bring these conveyor belts down regardless of what we do. So let's go ahead and chunk that. And continue to go down, down, down. So if we wanted to make 24 washing machines, just to be 12 on each side, which if we copy this, we're already a third of the way there. We'll place this 3 times. And you're looking at that kind of spacing. This should be 12, and doubling that up will be 24. So I'm happy with that as a general idea. However, 1, 2, 3. There, like I said, there are 2 ways of doing this. So I'm trying to think of like how much ore of the 2 different kinds of ore washing I'm going to need to do. For the tin ore, I think I'm going to need to do more. For the copper and iron and probably gold, I'll probably need to do less. Based on, this is just me messing around with recipe book and factory planner and thinking what do like the purple science packs need and so on. Hard for me to be sure because it's so complex, these different component structures, but if I just cut it down to base ingredients, I think we'll be okay with just avoiding the second form of ore washing for the most part. Because it actually reduces the amount of yield you get from the ingots, and I don't like that nearly as much as well. That being said, I want to keep my options open. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this 50%. So if we go to here, this is 12, so we just need 6, these 6 here. And I'm going to go ahead and, with a little bit extra space given, let's say another 4, say this much. Let's just go ahead and say that this is going to be an example of if we wanted to like do the whole circuit network, washing machine number 2 or version like recipe 2. We'll leave some space for it. So whether we do all of this is washing machine 1 and all this is washing machine 2 or some other variation, depending on really if we need a lot of like nickel or whatever, then we've got a few ways we can make it work. So that's just my kind of placeholder art for right now, just to know what we're dealing with. None of this will actually be necessary, but well, maybe I'll keep the top one, huh? Yeah, this just kind of gives me the framework for, oh, there'll be something here later. We don't need to like set it all up and change up all the conveyor belts and stuff like that. Well, there'll be plenty of time for that later. But for right now, I do want to keep it in mind, because where we place the train station is actually quite relevant for this whole process. We do need to make sure we're bringing the power poles down, though. Let's go ahead and just hop in the van. The Scooby-Doo mystery machine. Alrighty, and now we're going to get into furnaces. So, allotting some extra space for this. We're going to need a lot of furnaces, guys. So looking at this setup, now we still need 96 machines to operate with the pure minerals in mind. I think it's similar to regardless of what kind, just because crafting speed changes. But yeah, we're going to need some electric furnaces, and we'll go ahead and set it up just like this. Now, I was talking about future techs that I want to keep in mind. And there's one more that I also want to try to consider. I don't think we're going to be able to build out for it quite yet, but there is one other technology that's very interesting to me, and that would be something called gas furnaces. Also a blue tech, not too far off in technicality, though I think getting the materials for it will be a little difficult. But these things are the exact same thing as electric furnaces, but they run on natural gas. And while we don't have any of that right now, once we start tapping the oil, that's one of the 3 main ingredients coming out of oil processing. So if we have just a way that we can dump what could be, in theory, byproduct that we don't want into natural gas, that, and as well as omit the electricity cost, that's great. That's really good for us. Obviously, it comes with the drawback of, I believe, you see pollution on the right side here. It says pollution 6 per minute. I believe that that'll be active whether the machine is in use or not. So if we're doubling up our number of furnaces, then we're probably doubling that passive pollution from the machines. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but for the most part, I think, you know, we're already at evolution factor 47. And I think that, you know, we'll be at 100% before you know it. Unless maybe that's a logarithmic thing. I don't actually know enough details about Evo factor. I just see number go up, enemy get bad. But yeah, let's just focus in. All I'm saying right now is that there may be a good reason for us to allocate a bit more space before we actually do the loading station for the train, to allow ourselves to have the flexibility of using natural gas as a way to burn off that fluid if we need to. Which I've heard just a few commenters have mentioned that sour gas, at least early on, I think it actually might, by the time you get all the techs, like the spaceship and stuff unlocked, I think it all might balance out. But a lot of people have been saying, especially early on, that sour gas is the thing that you're looking for a lot for sulfur, and the natural gas and petroleum ends up being in excess. So I just kind of want to avoid, have tools at my disposal to avoid that. And I was thinking that that the natural gas furnaces might be a good option. But I also don't want to be in a position where I'm like, okay, well, I don't have any natural gas. I don't have enough natural gas because, you know, we're on to the next tech analysis pack tier, and suddenly it's consuming a lot more. Something in my headset sounded like a biter going off. I don't know. But yeah, it is a biter. What? Oh, yeah. I forgot about these guys. Dude, that freaked me out. I was like, what am I hearing? I thought it was like a bug or something. I'm like, there's literally no way there could be biters out here. I forgot that I left 2 random worms just chilling here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, that caught me off guard. Yeah, so we're making furnaces. Let's check out how our progress is so far. Unfortunately, we're not radaring. We could radar. We're at 40 right now. Let's go ahead and drop a radar so we can kind of keep track of things a little better. I didn't mean to craft it, but just drop the one I have. Right over here, because we can always move that. So that'll give us a little bit better, let's see. Yeah, that'll give us towards the top, and I think I actually dropped some radar dishes up there, so in theory we might already, yeah, we already have visuals of that. So we can see everything now, and with that information we can see that we have already put up 40 electric furnaces. So this goes pretty far down. When you consider that we're going to have 4 of these parallel lines, we're literally going to be like copying all this stuff, not right now because we don't have the buildings for it. We're going to be copying all our stuff and just like plopping it down one, you know, another one here, another one here, another one here. This is going to be a huge base. This thing will stretch super far down. It will go all the way across, at least to steel for right now and gold later on. That's a lot of stuff, guys. That's a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm so excited about this, is just like the scale that we're about to hit in terms of at least resource availability is going to be huge. And then it's just on us to find ways to spend that and continue to take advantage of the resources we have. No more, you know, starting base bottlenecks. You know, we use this stuff piece by piece for a very long time, but I'm feeling like we're about to hit a point where we actually can take full advantage of stuff. Let's go ahead and expand this out. There's no reason to leave any water in this area. We're going to be building on everything. So I guess we're not doing, what is this, copper number 2 for a long time. But yeah, if I could get some landfill from my man over here. Oh, he's out. Maybe cancel that, guys. Yeah, because we need a little bit of that landfill action, if we can have it. Yes, bring back the fish. That's what we need. All right, let's focus up. Let's get the furnaces out. The whole point of going through that spiel of, hey, there's another kind of furnace we want to play with is that there's a consideration for doubling up the amount of furnaces. And obviously we're already using a lot of furnaces. We're using a lot of space. But in theory, if we doubled up how much space we allocated, we would always be able to burn off a natural gas. Even though natural gas gets consumed by these things pretty slowly, I think it said, if I remember correctly, these things burn... It doesn't actually say. But even if they burn natural gas pretty slowly, just having any kind of way of venting it or removing it from the system is probably going to be giving us a bit of an advantage. All right, so that's the radar. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this. 76. We still got a ways to go. We are very far down, and we still don't have our 96. We need 20 more. Let's go ahead and... Well, I would say landfill, but we burned a lot of that already, too. Kind of want to grab the car. Oh, do I have a car there? Oh, mono wheel, that could work. Yeah, I need to go grab some landfill for sure, because there's some water in the way, and we gotta finish what we started. So what I like to do in these situations is try to give take the advantage of the momentum the car naturally has to send it on its way where we want it to be, and then we'll use vehicle number 2 to take us to base. And grab some landfill real quick. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can approach this whole resource processing stuff. A lot of it's optional. Some of it becomes mandatory as the byproducts come into play, like the nickel and chromium, I think one's called. But yeah, we'll figure it out. And that's the whole exploration aspect of it. It's pretty cool. Exploring this box. Vehicles can be a little testy sometimes. I know we have more landfill available somewhere, but I think down by the actual manufacturing location for it. But let's just focus up and take care of this first and foremost, especially since we lack rocks to replace it anytime soon. Well, there's our thing. Do we just want to pick this up? It's got a lot of coal in it, so I guess we don't have that option. But I would kind of just have a vehicle that I can carry around and use in certain situations. For now, he'll chill here. We're back in. And landfill is back. I think we were about to make 20 of these. So let's go ahead. Make sure we're all clear here. Is this necessary? Maybe, maybe not. But I just don't want to have to stop for random water breaks. Well, 5 is awkward. Let's just use an even number, which is going to be 4. Or 8. Let's do that. And do this 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we actually don't have enough furnaces for all this stuff, right? That's okay. End of the day, we really just want the outline more than anything. So we'll go ahead and finish filling this out pretty soon. We're going to get a lot more furnaces from the build that we did in the previous, 2 episodes ago, I guess. Once we actually get the copper injected into the system, which is what we're working on right now. So we'll go ahead. We'll steal a couple here. And that way we know where it ends. And yeah, now we can look at it like, okay, well, what next? Do we want to allocate extra space for some variation? What I was thinking in my head was I could have, instead of like 100 furnaces, I could have 75 gas furnaces and 50 electric furnaces. That way, worst case scenario, we're still doing 50% throughput on smelting. And, you know, we're not getting rid of all the natural gas that we could, but 3/4 of it, in best case scenario, is going to be a pretty good option. If that's the case, we would need to obviously clear the road a little bit here. We're going to need to deconstruct this and just kind of move it off to the side. Or just... we have to find a way to get coal down here still. Unless we completely redo our boiler setup. So we can't just completely ignore this connection. But... let's go ahead... undo that for now. Just get rid of this right here and figure out what to do with it later. Because at the very least, we have this like curve that we'll want to keep intact. At least until tin gets down here, and maybe even then we'll see. So, either way, this is not going to be a thoroughfare for anything, not even the iron, the mining stuff. But not really too worried about that. Let's not focus on it too much. This still functions. That's what's important. And it's out of our way. So let's say that we wanted to add in another 40 or so of these machines. 44 sounds perfect. If we want to do that, it would go to here. And we'd have to go this route. I'm just going to deconstruct the entire mess in the middle. Inserters and all that. Because we're not actually making that stuff. I just want it available in case we... that space available in case we end up deciding to do so. Which I believe we will eventually. Because if I remember correctly, I think there's something called petroleum processing. I was looking through a lot of this tech stuff a while ago. I know some people will not even care about this stuff because we haven't even unlocked oil, but petroleum processing creates natural gas. So if we're burning natural gas, we're effectively burning the two things that some people said was a problem. And if that's the case, then I think we're feeling pretty good. Placeholder? Placeholder. We can even do that. So this is just extra space that we have to work with. And we could, in theory, run it all the way down. Just the belts all the way down, and then use what we expect is necessary. Keep this rolling, though. The important thing is that this continues, regardless of anything else. This stuff we will actually replace. The other stuff, not for a while. Not until a new technology is unlocked, and then all these weird parts that are required for it are discovered and made readily available. So yeah, we have to think about our depot location. I have a feeling we're actually going to have to... we're definitely going to have to put it past this coke unload station. So let's keep it going. Maybe not. Yeah, if it's this far, it's just this far. Not going much further than this, I imagine. Because this is where the rubber trees hit. And then we would want like a thoroughfare that would go through here. We just have to figure out the whole 2 to 4 pixel difference between the different trains. Yeah. I think we can manage that. Now this is sending the wrong thing, by the way. We were supposed to be sending the ingots, not the crushed ore. The crushed ore is not helpful. I'm not going to put all that in my pockets, but we're going to have to run a line down the middle. My bad. There's what we want. This is what we came from the very beginning. Once we started digging into here, the whole goal was to get this into our factory. And we have accomplished that goal, but with a few extra steps to hopefully scale things up, not crash into machines. Whoop. Trees are fine. Alright, let's say this line ends here. Alright, and we just need to have another unloading station. I'm okay with shaving off some of the trees here. You'll see that they only need 50 in the chunk, and they could still grow at the bottom. I don't think we're going to be polluting it too heavily or anything like that. So I'm okay with taking at least like a third of this chunk for granted in terms of the rubber trees. They're not that precious. While you're here, go ahead, bots. So we want to make a train station. We've done this many times. We should be able to do it again. The inserters will go the other direction, but otherwise it should be this exact setup here. So you see, we just look at the chunk, that beautiful chunk that just so happened to be the exact distance we needed it to be. Go ahead and do that. And then rotate it. And we'll want some space to like figure out which line is which, balance it out. And all this stuff is going to go southeast, I think, anyways. I think my game plan is to run it underneath here. So that could either go right through where the forestry is or right under where the forestry is. We can deconstruct this and should be fine. So yeah, let's go ahead and go for right here. Oh yeah, chunks. Chunk lined is what we want. So it's actually going to be right here, or the rightmost part of the chunk, which is expected. And I think that works for me. Or we could do it here and it's running on the top of the chunk if we still care about chunk alignment. I don't think I'm that fancy. In fact, we know that forestries are going to be running along the top of the chunk, so might as well do it a little bit lower than that. Yeah, I'll do it here. And like I said, right here. But, okay. So tin's going to have a weird problem when we start needing to unload tin. We will have to find a solution for that later. Not worried about it right now. We might be deconstructing all this stuff for it. I'm not so sure. Maybe we'll just do 2 lines of tin. Honestly, tin is not that needed. It's like some for lead, some for tin, but I could just do just do 2 full lines and do it in half as much space. I'm perfectly fine with that. And then we'll have to figure out how to get it on the railroad, but here we are. Enough talking, more doing. And get this grid out of my face. Kind of bothers me. So eventually we'll like connect all these belts together, like balance them, make sure everything's going well. But right now it's just the one belt. We just need it on the train. So I'm going to do it the simplest way I can as a temporary thing. It's just going to be right here. Why aren't you in... because the water, I guess. And this won't be relevant either. Everything else is looking good, though. But yeah, we just want to get it on the train, however it works. We don't really care about which car compartment has what at this moment in time. The inserters are so slow that they're not going to be able to keep up with this for the most part anyways. At least to maybe the last few lanes will make it work, but yeah. So this will be able to go onward. And we're going to have to, at some point, make it so that the train could turn around. More chain signals. Can make a bunch of these. And yeah, now we just need to set up a train. which I believe I have in my inventory here. Wonderful. Give it some coke. And say this is... What is this train station? This is... Copper loading. 1. And that's the station it will be at. And then for right now, I think we'll just loop it and we'll make a real thing later. It's gonna be like this. Hate this part. Holding shift to go past the trees always triggers the other AI, but if I hold control, I think it does what I want it to. It mostly does. If anybody knows the hotkeys that will solve my woes, that would be helpful. Alright, so this is bad, this is good, right? I like to check it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, good. Excuse me, rubber trees. Alright, now we need to figure out what we're doing here. So I'm fine with axing this if we want to. We definitely don't have the ability to make this a clean triangle. It's kind of nice to have trains have the ability to turn around. Maybe we just save it as a loop for right now so we don't have to worry about that part. So what I do want to do is remove this stuff with the electric poles necessarily. Switch over to train mode. Are we going to do it? Are we going to get copper to our base after all these years? All right, 2 to 4 curve, rotate it. Right there looks good. Yes? Question mark? Looks just fine. We can adjust the conveyor belts if we need to. So I'm not too worried about those. I'm worried about a big old electric pole in the middle of an intersection though, so maybe we don't do that. Just kind of string it up here however is needed and we'll figure it out later. Can it go under? Yeah, we just don't worry about those boxes and we'll figure it out. Bam, bam. Now we have a blueprint somewhere, some way, somehow, for T intersection. All signaled out. It does need a bit more space than we've currently given it. But I don't know what else to do about that, to be honest. I guess that part isn't too bad. Let's go ahead. Do this. Do... Okay, I got an idea. But that's not how the T is going to look, right? I'm just being ridiculous. The T is more like this. We could do a 4-way intersection if we... Well, we can't flip it. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to line it up like this. I think this will work decently well. Maybe, maybe not. And I'm out of rails, which makes it a little harder to actually ghost this stuff the way I want to. We'll come in here. And we'll say this is pretty obvious, and then this one, can it do it? That's the trick. But that's the reason this will still work is because I have a lot more space to work with here. Because this one doesn't have to be at where it is right now. So we could do like this, and then wrap around, something like that. We actually have to do like a bit harder of a curve. That's what it looks like. That's not it. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to figure it out real quick. All right, that wasn't too bad. We just went in reverse. We started from the south and we followed it up and basically said, okay, how far can you turn this way and how can you get there? And yeah, it works. It's not beautiful or anything, but it's just taking care of some legacy rail systems. Speaking of which, could probably take care of those now. So it doesn't give an option for it to go all the way through. If we did, then we'd have to get more signals and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and make a loop at the right side, and we'll end up tearing down all this stuff and repurposing it. Alrighty. Almost there. Just a little bit further. Like I said, we can always underground this stuff, no problem. It's going north. Never get wood for some reason. We ended up using this towards the factory, and that was just like an excess thing. Got it. Been a while since I had these things. Hey, look, free furnaces. 'Free a lot of things. Free rails, free whatever you want, really. It's for the moment, a few rails will not be able to turn around, but that's why we just need to make an end loop here and it'll be okay. Or theoretically, it'll be up here. Can I do a deconstruction cancel? Nice. So yeah, you can do specific, like this is trees and rocks only, and holding shift you can cancel actually the trees and the rocks part. So I'm just trying to claim valuable pieces. But as I say that, just gonna dump. Oh yeah, no, we can't take the chest. Cancel that. Distribution time. Cool. Go ahead and bring our cart here. Where is Mr. Roller? Hope y'all are having a good night tonight. Whether you're factoring away to great success, I assume, or just chilling out and watching some videos. Either way, we're here for it. And yeah, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Yeah. Come on, robots. Doesn't have to be that hard. Probably does, but don't tell me. Alright, I don't want this one to run too long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and we'll meet back up when I get the rails in the place where the station will be. Alright, sidetrack number 1. The electricity is back and connected. Sidetrack number 2. I flipped the inserters the wrong way because I just rotated the schematic. It's supposed to be loading, not unloading. Sidetrack number 3. I refilled some inventory slots. Sidetrack number 4. Did I seriously not connect these water pipes to an actual water source when I placed these a while back? Tisk tisk. Alrighty. Let's move. Rails are online. They're on rails, as it may be. That's terrible. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to deal with this weird interference thing anymore between the old version of stuff and the new version of stuff. I don't think we'll have too many more intersections with this particular line that went all the way to the Coke factory. Maybe one more over here shouldn't be too big a deal because there's plenty of space, whereas this is very, very space limited. So really the only collision we'll have to worry about is the tin, which, like I said, I'll probably just do 2 lines instead of 4. I don't think I need that much. Alrighty. Yeah, so here we are. We have ourselves a nice little setup here. We're going to want to make ourselves a holding station, and we're going to want to make ourselves a bunch of little unloading depots. So these won't be chunk aligned because I just want to use as much space as possible as far to the west as possible. It'll reduce how many belts I need to use to get it to where I want it to be, which in theory is only right here. That's not too bad, actually. But yeah, there's some copper that I need to inject at other places, potentially. So yeah, the question is, how much copper am I using to... So this is only iron for the green science packs, right? So green science packs are... The bronze frame glass is coming from the top, the iron beams is separate. So in theory, there's not much copper usage down here at all, which means I can bypass any copper that would have gone through here and just inject it right here, which would be perfect. All right, holding station. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my old holding station and make a bit of a blueprint. So we'll go ahead and blueprint this right here. And the cool thing about blueprints is you can just look at these components and say, I don't want this stuff. I want to flip this vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and take out all the signals. I'm going to take out the whole train station that's on the south side. None of that really matters. Really nothing but the rails. Nothing about the rails matters to me, and not even all the rails. You can right click, hold it down, and you're just going to go ahead and clear out plenty of stuff there. Do we need another one? Let's see. How many things am I unloading? If I'm unloading tin, iron, copper, etc. I think we're just going to cut one out. I think it's a little bit excessive for what I'm doing here. I do want them ready to roll and ready to distribute to the factory as soon as possible, but at the end of the day, not too worried about it. So this is going to be our temporary blueprint. Holding station. And... Sure. So that's our blueprint. We've created it. We've got it right here. And now we can do a vertical flip or rotate. So to keep it the way it was, just rotate it. And what's more important is that I figure out about these train stations. So I really should probably go ahead and blueprint that as well. Do I have inventory for it? Yes, I do. And we'll head back over here. And we'll just do a station from here all the way to here. So bits and bobs here. We don't necessarily need the electric poles in that location every time. And I'm fine with keeping the signals because I can rotate this. The question is, are the signals correct for what we want? I'm going to say yeah, in theory, if they were right the first time. I don't know, we can just do copper. Yep. Alrighty, so I've got one of those as well. So those are in our inventory right now. We'll go ahead and flip this one. See where we can place it confidently. Copper. Iron. Maybe just steel, because we actually don't need iron just yet. We're running off of this patch for quite some time. can always upgrade those if we feel we need that as well. Anyways, back to the blueprint I was just running with. Let's go ahead and redo that. Now these are all unloading stations, which works perfectly fine here. But technically, I could make a blueprint for either, or I could just be happy with this. Either way. So that's, yeah, copper, steel, tin or iron or gold. Guess we should establish this properly. Should have enough rails. So I refilled this just now. Yes. Work, my robots. Rock. It's a lot, honestly, to get this all in place. I think we should do both sides, but we have to do the holding station first. Yeah. Because I just don't want it to go all the way to the right and then have to come all the way to the left. It won't even fit in this space here. Like, this is already 8 rows, basically, right? Yeah, it'll barely fit, it looks like. It'll just go on the sidewalk a bit, which isn't the end of the world. But over here, what have we got for ourselves? We'll go ahead and do the holding station. And there's a few pieces I want to cut out. But I can do that, yeah, I can do that by right-click the blueprint, and then, yeah, that'll work. So we want that, and then we don't want the curve in this context, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that too. And we'll just have to figure out what they're doing with it shortly thereafter. I think this works. Save. Okay, there's still some weird pieces in here. Okay. That'll work. Wait, this is not right, is it? Try that again. All things considered, I think I'm doing pretty well with the train stuff. This is definitely all still very new territory to me. But taking it in stride, and so far it's working out, I think. You know, we have yet to see the trains run, but the theory is there. Works great in theory. One more time. There we go. Holding station. And then we can go ahead and do these unloading stations. It's actually kind of better that they're offset a bit, because that way we can have plenty of room for the belts to move around. You fit 4 in there, which we might have to. It's still kind of weird with the underground beltage. I mean, like, gold can come in down here. We're not doing anything with gold for a while, so don't really have to worry about sweat it so much. And tin won't be needed until we redo the red science, so lead might be necessary, though. We'll see. If we have to build further down, then that's what we'll do. But we'll go ahead and set up a loading station. This looks right to me. I know I should be using like a blueprint book for this, but I plan on putting it away after I'm done with it, so we'll see what happens. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stations. We'll do one more station here, and then we'll loop it and call it good. Interesting setup we found ourselves in. Luckily, we have not run into any super obstructive cliffs. Kind of surprising, honestly. Oh, and of course they're all going to want these chests built for them. And we're almost out of inserters. Still doing okay for the moment. All right. One little loop and we are done, I would say, with our gargantuan effort. Whew. All right. And let's just do it this way. Not easy, but we're doing it. Oh. Yep. All right. All right. At least they have unique names. So I was worried they were all going to have the same train stop name as the old blueprint, but it looks like I had to check that box for that to happen. So instead, we have this. Wonderful. All right. So this is going to be drop-off station for copper. We reserved it. Copper unloading 1. And if we can go ahead and give a second command, he should be full cargo, should be his. That's gonna take a while, but we can always jump start it. So why does it have, well, it has a little bit of coke. Okay, so we're out of copper ore. Because he's got an empty cargo inventory command, so we have to. That's fine. Let's go ahead and just. Yeah, until we get back up there, we might as well have him loading back up. In the meantime, we can tell this one. Why does he have coke there? I don't know. Anyways, copper unload 1. Weight condition, empty cargo. Come on over. All right. This is definitely better than I've ever done with trains before up to this point. Just even what we've done so far. Even if none of it works, even if it is all messy at this point, from this point forward, I feel good about what we've accomplished today. All right, so let's go ahead and fill this in. Wait, that's not the right one. Where are we going? This is, I guess this is supposed to be copper. Unloading 1. My bad. And then you're supposed to be anything else. Random. All right, hop in here. Get electricity to this one, and we are good to go. Oof. Been a lot of work to get to this point, but we got there. Let's get some copper. So these machines do not have a loading system in place. There's no crates here at all, are there? Come on. I lost what I was saying. Yeah, I think I want to try to get coke to fuel these things, but the coke is like over here. Coke and coal. Why is the coal coming from the north? I thought we disconnected that a long time ago. Didn't we? Should have. The heck? The whole point was to save the coal for up top. Keep these boilers running a little bit longer. Oh well. I don't think we're using it that much because the boilers themselves had their own supply right here. And coal was only going to like a few things down here. Like the furnaces or something like that. Not the end of the world. Let's go ahead, get the coke out of the system, however it came to be. And get the red arm inserters created. Yeah, my point was there should be some coke or coal relatively close by systematically, but what we do with it is another question. I think I'm just going to route it to the setup over here, similar to what we did before. We did coke unload 4 here. In the loading bay, we can go ahead and do the same. And it'll all work out. All right, so we're emptying, we're getting copper. Let's go ahead and put all the pieces together. Based on the throughput of these inserters, what I'm going to do for... All right, apparently we missed something in our blueprint. One last set of inserters. What I'm going to do is based on the throughput I currently have, I can modify this later, but what I currently have is this. So we're just going to combine them together. And copy that over here. And just to conserve space for other resources that are going to be coming through. And then this one was the copper line. I believe that should do it. Might overwhelm the thing here because it was only designed to be on 1/2. Well, that's the half it's not supposed to be on. on the left side. Only. And you can tell my brain just kind of turned off at this point. I just want to finish this up, get the copper where it belongs, call it a night, you know? Yeah, we'll just do this. And then... it's more like do it like this and then do it like this. My bad. Alright, brain back on. Finish up. Finish this. Alright, copper is where it wants to be right there. But more importantly, we now have the ability to put it into here through this system. So that'll go... trying to get it into here, which should be through this line, which comes from here. Yeah, so right here, right? All right. Copper's flowing in. Let's go ahead and upgrade these components here. There's some coke in here for some reason. I don't know why. I'll have to take a look at that. Looks like we're clear. Here. Clear here. More than enough for our new factory. All right, now we can just sit back, relax, and let it do its work. Get some new furnaces. I'll let this run for a little bit, get the furnaces, and we can meet back up to do the same thing for steel, hopefully a lot more efficiently. Nice to see this get all filled up now. It looks like this insert is a little overwhelmed. We can fix that. We didn't have a lot of copper around to test it before. Low power? What do you mean you have low power when you're running like 20,000 more crushers, furnaces, and etc.? You didn't account for that in the budget? It's fine, we'll upgrade it. Yep, so we'll improve the power satisfaction. It's flickering, but it's working. And soon we'll have a lot more material to work with. Then we can smelt some steel and make the final push happen to actually get into blue tech for real. Very exciting. Very exciting indeed. Well, like I said, I'm getting pretty tired. Might have been pretty obvious this last few minutes, but not a big deal. We got what we needed accomplished, and we couldn't be happier about that. We'll find a way to make all this get injected where it needs to, and look ahead to a fully resupplied factory with our central processing unit being the heart of it. So, looking good, feeling good, and knowing that tomorrow will be even brighter. All right. Thanks all for tuning in. Y'all have a good night, and see you next time.